No luck.
All right. Hi, everyone. We are currently live. We're live. And so I just wanted to let you know that we're getting started in just a second. So you're going to see a lot of people just moving around, and that's okay. But we will be getting started. And we're not starting late or anything because Shayla's late. She's not that much of a diva. She's here, I promise. She's over there. You can't see her, but I swear she's right there. So we'll get started in just a second. So we're going to mute this for now. So if you come on and say you cannot hear, I know why that is, but there is someone watching and they'll be glad to remind you. And we'll get started in just a second. Okay, going on mute. you are watching and you're wondering why there was no sound, it was because it was muted. That's the answer. So what I want to know though first is, can everybody hear me okay? So if you're watching, comment for us if you can hear us live in the digital spaces. Can you hear us okay? I know y'all can hear us. Yup. Y'all having to drink, and I really don't understand that. Yeah. So people go get some drinks because why else did we bring all this stuff? Everybody here?
I did.
Awesome. Kim said she has hers. And as a matter of fact, Kim, before you start your lunch, do you want to address our crowd here as the owner of Forge before we get started?
Yeah.
Let me introduce you to Kim Lee, the owner of Forge. You can step up a little bit.
Oh, hey. Yeah. So I'm Kim Lee. I'm the owner and founder of Forge, which is where we are today. Jacqui's hosting this event from our co-working space. We are a co-working space in downtown Birmingham in the Pizzitz building, right above the Pizzitz Food Hall. And we are a workspace for small business owners, entrepreneurs, remote workers. We provide a membership to give you access to our space. You can have access in our open workspace, our private offices, and then we also have conference rooms that can be reserved for your meetings or events, and spaces like this if you wanted to host a larger event. So we would love to hear from you. If you are interested in Forge, you can check us out at workatforge.com. You can take a virtual tour, or you can schedule an in-person tour. So we're so excited to have Jacqui here today. We know this is going to be so great. She is always our favorite. And I know we're going to learn a lot.
Yay!
Yay.
Thank you.
Thank you all for attending today. Yes.
She's such a great host. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. You good? You ready? Ready? It's time. You ready? Okay. So, I didn't bring anything to read, but I just know she's dope. She's been in the frame already, so this feels a little weird, but since she is re-entering, I'm going to take this opportunity to introduce you to Shayla Nicole of 66 Media. Come on in.
Woo-hoo!
Hey, girl.
Hi.
All right, now y'all got to tell me if you can hear Shayla, because I feel like she's trying to talk sexy, and...
Okay, I'll talk up, so hopefully they can hear me.
Right, can you hear Shayla is the question we're going to ask right now. All right, so, hi Shayla.
Hi, Jacqui. What's up?
What's up, girl? All right, so in case you don't know what you are here for, this is QTNA. It's questions that need answers. And the purpose of this, I should introduce myself.
Absolutely.
Hi, I'm Jacqui Jones, CEO of One Degree Marketing and founder of Elevation Academy, which we are here under the Elevation Academy umbrella today. Elevation Academy is basically about giving people as much marketing knowledge as they can handle while they are trying to do their marketing themselves. So the motto here is you're going to spend time or money. So if early in your entrepreneurial career, which we know how it is, you have more time than money. And so Elevation Academy is there to help you spend that time effectively, learn the things you need to learn. And then when you get more money than time, you can outsource to people like me and Shayla.
Exactly.
That's how that works, basically. And so today, this concept really kind of came as, we teach a lot of classes, like Shayla and I both do. We get up there, we talk about whatever we prepared, whatever it is. It could be, social media, which is like huge, and then it could be just one platform, and then it could be email marketing, but then even that could be one platform. And so at the end, you always run out of time to ask your questions, right? And so this event is basically just Q&A. Like, that's it. The whole purpose is to ask whatever questions on your mind. I have my own questions for Shayla, my guest here, in case y'all are not asking questions, because I know what y'all ask me, so I'm going to ask Shayla. And my hope, and I told Shayla this, is that we will just talk through what our answers are for how we do business and how we typically work. But also, we may not agree on some stuff, and that's the part I'm actually looking forward to. I don't know that we're going to disagree, because we typically are pretty much doing the same things.
Right.
But if we do disagree, that'll make for great content. So, maybe we can just,
Maybe I'll just disagree just to throw it in.
Yeah.
Just to kind of throw you off.
Just for good content, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. All right, so in the meantime, let's start with letting Shayla just introduce herself and what 66 Media does and what she does as a marketer.
All right. Thank you. First of all, for hosting this and having me. Yes, cheers to QTNA. So I am Shayla Nicole, and I am the founder, chief curator, chief strategist at 66 Media. And so what our team does is we help to build an online presence for businesses and brands. And so we've worked with a lot of global brands, public figures. We also do live event and production and things like that. So like, as you know, we just did some production for Rick Ross's concert that was last Sunday.
I was hoping you were going to say it because if you did,
Right.
I was going to. Okay.
Right, and so that's kind of like the fun, more like the fun stuff that we do like on site. And then shout out to Pastor Mike Jr. of Rock City. We did production last night for the I Got Away tour, which was a lot of fun. So I'm kind of dragging in this morning off of that. But so yeah, so basically, you know, my passion is really to help business owners, entrepreneurs, creatives, influencers, anybody, you know, in that realm to kind of build their digital online presence, and then also to kind of help people to turn their passion into profits. So like,
We like that.
I like it.
Come on, passion into profit. Y'all, come on now.
I do believe that we're born with, everybody is born with a natural, you know, God-given skill and gift and talent. And so if you're somebody like Jacqui or myself who then can say, you know, well, I'm pretty good at helping other people, like, you know, get going, then it's like, let me help you kind of take the thing that fuels you and show you how to make some money off of it. So that's pretty much like who I am and what I do.
Yes. Well, welcome again. I'm so glad she said yes. She could have not. That would have been awkward.
I would never say no to Jacqui because Jacqui is like the mom.
You're full. All right, so we're gonna really kind of jump right in, and we do have our live studio audience here with us. And just so that you all know, there is someone who is watching the chat and watching everything. So when you see stuff go up on the screen, if you want to say something, our producer Brittany behind the scenes here will just throw up your comments so that, you know, as you're watching, you can see what other people are saying on other platforms. This is showing in a lot of places. So she'll just put your comments up, you know, just don't say anything crazy because I hate to come fine. So let's jump right in. Now, we can either start this with, hey, welcome. We can either start this with you all's questions or I can get us started. You know, I have a preference. I can get us started. Okay, cool. Of course I'm here. All right, so Shayla, let's start with the first thing, which is something that you and I go through a lot. When people come to you and they say, I need marketing, right? What is your advice to people who are looking to outsource? Like because I get this question a lot, what should I be looking for? What should I be asking? What should I be, like, what do you typically say to people who are like, well, how do I find a marketing company? How do I find a marketer? What is your answer usually?
First of all, before you want to work with me, do you have some money?
Number one.
I'm kidding. But
They're like, all right.
no, I'm kidding. You know, I remember when I first started out in business, one of the things that I did was I had a lot of people that came to me that needed websites. Mm-hmm. And so I just kind of did almost kind of like I don't want to call it a bootleg scholarship, but that's kind of like what it was. Like I would kind of find out like, okay, who are you? What is it that you're wanting to do? And if I had like I guess faith in you and your business, I wanted to get behind you, then I was like, okay, yeah, like we'll do it. We'll knock it out.
And there are people out there like that.
It's like people like I was like that.
Right.
You know.
I was.
But I think that when people come to me and they're like, I need marketing. Of course, I'm like, okay, well, what is it that you're trying to push? And do you really need marketing, or is it something else that you need before you even get to it? Like, how do you know
there might be other things?
There may be some other things that you need before we even get to the marketing piece of it. Like, have we niched down and figured out who we're trying to target? You know. So sometimes they may come to you and they'll say, I need marketing, and it's like, okay, what? Are you at ground zero, or are there
So what I hear you saying is, if you are looking to outsource, know what you need.
Know what you need. That's number one.
Okay.
Like, you know, don't go to, you know, a car dealership saying, well, I need a car, when really you're looking to, you know, haul freight or something. Like, you probably need to be somewhere looking at like an 18. Like, you really need to know what it is that you need.
Yeah, know what you're after.
Right.
Okay. Anything else you want to add? Because I'm going to add to it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't add anything. I want to see what you
We can volley. Okay, we can volley. So typically I tell people, you know, you're interviewing the person that you are outsourcing to, like the company. So ask them what they do. Like, because I do marketing, it's like the phrase I'm over in life. I do marketing. People, that means so many things to so many different people. That can mean you make t-shirts. It can mean that you do social media. It can mean that you do like paid advertising or SEO. Like it means so many things to say I do marketing. And so if you are outsourcing, my first thing to tell people is ask them what they provide.
Exactly.
Because sometimes what we find, and I hate to put our industry on blast, but you know, we're marketers.
Right.
We'll sell anything.
True.
Just won't say that. We'll sell anything. And so if you just come tell us what you want, we'll be like, oh yeah, I can do that. Because maybe, especially smaller firms, maybe they have that skill set and they're like, cool, I can make that happen, but they don't have a process around it. And they don't have these other things that I learned the hard way in my early days. It's like, don't just say yes to everything. And so you need to ask them, what do you specialize in? What is it that you offer on a regular basis? Like, what are your actual services? Not what can you do? Because we can all do a lot of things. I can put a bookshelf together. I'm gonna send you over there to stay. Because while I can, it's not necessarily a good idea. And so I think for me, I always tell people, you know, you are also interviewing them. Like, never think that your need for marketing is so strong that you can't leave that conversation and say, I'm interviewing you. What is it that you can provide? You know, what do you do so I can figure out if that aligns? And then the conversation can kind of start in depth there. So that's one of the things I tell people is like, ask them what they actually do
Right.
on a regular basis.
Right. Not because, you know, and I think, like you said, there's a lot of things that we can do.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I was first starting off, you know how it is when you're first starting out, and it's like,
You don't want to miss any money.
you don't want to miss any money.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, you don't want to leave any coin unturned.
Right.
So, you know, people will come to me and they're like, oh, well, can you do SEO? And I'm like, yep, I'll do that. I'll do digital, we'll do graphics. But like, I would do anything. And then I had to kind of really figure out the things that I was good at and what I excelled at. And then say, you know what, no, I feel like digital marketing is my thing.
It's giving entrepreneurship, y'all. This is going from a marketing conversation to an entrepreneurship conversation. Because that's a real thing to learn. Like, seriously.
Yeah.
Because the money, we need it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Because if you're not in business for money, then it's essentially like a hobby.
It is. You're volunteering.
Yeah. And there's other things that I would rather volunteer my time to do. So, yeah.
So anything else that we typically would tell people, because I get that question a lot. So you're saying, one, know what you need, try to know what you need, right, as best you can, and try to explain that, because, you know, everybody's definition of marketing, again, and even the services are different. And then also going in, adding what I'm saying, which is ask them what they actually provide so that you can hear what they lead with instead of them just agreeing to whatever it is that you're saying. Anything else you want to answer that?
No, but I think that was a great like kickoff question.
Yeah, it was. I think I did a good job.
I feel like they're going to get harder as you go.
They are. They are. Okay, so that got us started. Any questions in that vein? Even online, somebody's watching you. Even online, you can stop that ticker too, by the way. But any other questions off of that you all have run into any horror stories when you're talking to people when you're talking about marketing? Because it happens. It's okay, don't be shy. In the meantime, y'all just really quiet like that. Okay, cool. All right. So another question that I typically get asked, right? So let's go the digital marketing route. So both of us do a lot of digital marketing, which if you're here, and a lot of event marketing as well. So, but a lot of digital marketing, even from the events, just taking that into a digital space. So one question that I often also get asked is, how do I know where I need to be present digitally? It's the for me. Yeah.
I get that question a lot too, especially people who come to me and they're either trying to figure out which platform they're going to be on or which one they should focus on. And so my answer is typically the people that you're trying to target. So I know we talk a lot about knowing your customer avatar, niching down and that sort of thing, but the type of people that you're trying to reach out to and market to and advertise to, what platform are they?
Where are they?
Where are they? Like, you know, if I'm looking for somebody that, you know, I don't know, does production on like a large scale, I'm probably going to look to LA as opposed to looking to like Talladega, Alabama or something.
Right.
You know?
I mean, shout out to Talladega. We're not saying that you can't.
There's some people there, but I'm just saying, like,
If that's what you're looking
if I'm looking
right.
for it on a
Just
large
wanted to,
scale.
we don't want to get canceled.
They were like, what's she got against Talladega?
Right. Shout out to y'all.
Hate that I missed NASCAR last week.
Right. Same. Okay.
But So I always like to say, where are the people that you're trying to approach? What platform are they on? And then also, how are they using that platform too? Because, like for me, a lot of my people that I probably should be targeting and working with are probably on LinkedIn, and also it can change because I remember at one point I felt like all of my people that I wanted to work with were on Facebook. But then when I started saying, I'm growing from a place of needing to work with, startups and smaller businesses, and I'm like, okay, where's the global brands and the big people? It's like, they're probably hanging out on LinkedIn, their CEOs and their executives and the people that are making decisions and writing the checks are hanging out on LinkedIn.
Writing the checks.
Yeah.
Come on, somebody say it.
Yeah. So it can change. Which is another lesson in business, is that you have to be able to change and pivot too. So,
but you can't really do that, I think, if you don't know your brand. So I always tell people, right? Y'all didn't ask me this question, sorry. But oftentimes when people are trying to answer that question, right, it's hard for them to figure out where to go because they don't know their audience very well, and they don't know themselves as a brand very well. And so it's like you have this part of where you want to find your audience, but it's also like, what conversation do I want to be a part of, and how do I want to be viewed in that conversation? You could be a troll in the conversation and just always playing devil's advocate with people, or you could be a resource in the conversation, or you could be a cheerleader in the conversation, right? And so it's like, yes, doing all of those things, but the pivot is only made easy if you've done the boring marketing one-on-one, branding one-on-one work that says, I know my mission and values, and I know the tone that I want to have, and I know all of that. And without that, it's really hard to pivot to another platform because you can't just show up and be like, yeah, let me bring this LinkedIn strategy over here to TikTok.
right.
Do what now?
Right.
Right? It's like, that's not going to work. And so, but you can if you're like, okay, this part of my brand, how we talk, how we show up, how we want to be seen in the conversation, how do we apply that to this other space, because unfortunately that's where our audience is.
Right. And then
my audience is never on TikTok.
I pray my audience is not on TikTok either. Because if they are, I'm missing them. Because I don't have TikTok. A lot of people don't.
Have is a strong word. Go on.
I don't have TikTok simply because, again, going back to building a brand and an online presence, I have always had the handle the Shayla Nicole.
Somebody has it.
Somebody snatched my username.
Why is she looking out there in the world?
Because she's watching probably. She's watching everything I do. So she probably signed up for this and she's probably watching. So turn it over. But girl, when I say, my team has even been reaching out to TikTok legal,
trying to figure out.
Trying to get my username. And I'm like, and this is the sad part.
Well, I got Jacqui Jones.
This is the sad part. I have a brand deal that is being held up.
Oh no!
Because I don't have TikTok.
That sucks.
Yes.
Y'all just pray.
So I'm missing the bag. So I'm like, I need to feel right. But to your point, I got completely off subject. But when you were saying about pivoting on different social platforms, I noticed that even the way that I show up on social, I tend to show up differently on different platforms.
Also, when that's human nature, right?
Yeah.
And that's the thing we have to understand about our audience is that I'm on LinkedIn as CEO of Wintergreen Marketing. I'm on Facebook as Mary's daughter. I'm on Instagram as whoever I feel like that day.
Right.
But then, if I get a TikTok, who knows what I will be.
I already know who I will be on TikTok. I know.
And that's why we should stay off of it. You're somebody on Instagram that we almost need to pull back sometimes.
Oh,
so,
yeah. I knew it was bad. I posted something the other day and my pastor responded to my story and was like, you need Jesus. And I was like, okay, it's probably time to shut this down a little bit.
So Brittany's telling me that we have a question from online. Put that up on screen and also read it for us because we cannot see that.
Carol from YouTube wants to know, how would marketing apply to business development?
Wait, I recognize that avatar.
No, she got your hand? No. Okay, I thought it was gonna be a thing.
That's
so say it again. You said.
How would marketing apply to business development?
So are we saying how do we use? And this is for clarification of the question. Are you asking how do we use marketing in our business development? Is that what you're asking? I want to make sure. So while we wait for that, let's just assume that's the question.
Okay.
And if it's not, then we'll answer the correct question in a minute. But let's assume that the question is, how do we utilize marketing in our business development? So I'll start with this one, since I didn't ask it. So I think that typically, it's a really good question, because typically when we think about marketing, we think about the front-facing elements. We think about social, we think about email, how we're talking to our customer, forgetting that if you are B2B especially, if you are looking for other businesses, in case, B2B could be, everybody doesn't know what it is. So if you are trying to talk to other people that are not necessarily your end user all the time also, it is important to understand what the journey of that deal looks like. It's the same thing, just internal. As an example, right, as a service provider, and this is hard, it's hard to market for us.
Yes.
Because we can't be like, here, buy this glass, and look at it and touch it and feel it, and oh, you love it, so you want to buy another glass. Like, we can't do that. Oftentimes, all the engagements are very different, and so that makes it really hard in business development. But just like with your customer-facing things, being able to map the journey from you became aware of me, whether it was I met you at a restaurant or I met you at an event or it was a pop-up or whatever, the question is what happens after that? Do I have the marketing internally to say, here are the services? Is that a brochure? Is that a PDF that you can email? Is there a page on your website that you can send them to? And so all of these marketing assets that go into that journey are really important to your business development. It's the quickest way for you to answer their questions, which is the same thing we do for customers. If I were selling this glass, I would go ahead and tell you how tall it is, how heavy it is. I would go ahead and answer those questions, right? The same thing is true of business development. It's like, it's not a glass, it is social media management, but this is what that means to me. This is what that requires from us. Maybe this is what that requires of you as a client. This is what the timeline looks like, and I'm gonna go ahead and put that into some type of marketing asset so that I don't have to do a ton of work to explain it 100 times and now ask whatever questions you get on a regular basis. That's where the marketing opportunities are. It's like, here's a list of questions that we typically get. PDF in the email. So great to meet you. Here is a PowerPoint of all of our services marketing asset, right? If you go to this page on our website, 1degreemmm, this is not real, by the way, 1degreemmm.com/ you might want to give me money. As an example, because I don't want y'all to go there. But if you were to go there, maybe I've created a landing page just for people who I met who may be interested, or just to send before I have a discovery meeting. And so using those marketing assets is like really top tier, super ascended saying like ninja stuff. Yeah. Because most of the time we overlook that.
So I have a question for you though.
Oh snap.
Because so when you started talking about having, something like a landing page that listed all of 1 Degree's services that you all provide, right? Mm-hmm. Do you think that
which we don't have?
Okay, so that was my question is why don't you have?
Because nobody pays me to do 1 Degree marketing.
Yeah.
And that is like always the thing I think we talk about this all the time. We actually just talk about it when we're setting up. I'm like, I don't focus on my own marketing because I'm too busy doing everybody else's marketing. Yeah. And so I always have to tell my clients, yeah, don't look at my stuff. Like, it's gonna be whatever it has to be just to get by, unfortunately. But if I have to sit down at my computer, this is true entrepreneur life, like true small business owner, struggle bus life. If I sit down at my computer and I have 2 hours to do something, I am not working on 1 Degree. I am working on whatever the flyer is put out, that kind of thing. I'm not gonna sit down and be like, girl, let me see how I can make a 1 Degree page better.
So would you suggest to?
I'm going to go. Let me add that piece, right? So, and here's full transparency because my team is giving me the eye. Y'all can't see them out there, and y'all aren't looking at them in here, but they're giving me the eye. So here's the thing, though, and this is like an entrepreneur hat thing. The thing that we've had to work on as a team is getting me out of the weeds so that I can do business development, right? So hiring, this brings hard. Mm-hmm. Hiring, trusting them to do the job, empowering them to do the job, which comes with a lot of process development, trying to get the system in place, the CRM stuff, the project tracking, getting all that in place so that when I do sit at my desk, I can do my job. Because we have to remember, my job started off as social media manager, email marketer, web developer, and I've had to grow into CEO, which means I can't get stuck doing this stuff, which I love. But now that, and I said it last week, I was like, Brittany, I think we have finally reached me being out of the weeds. And she was like, now she lives in the weeds now, but, but I'm out of them, which means I can do the business development, which means if you are a client on May 1st, you're gonna get this real nice email and video from me that tells you what I will or will not do for the rest of the year. All right, but so it's coming.
Yeah.
All of that to say it's coming, but I know that that type of marketing is a very deep level of marketing, right? It's like I'm just trying to get people to pay me. And so typically the questions we get are, how do I get people to pay me so that I can get the team, so that I get out of the weeds? It's like that's a little deeper in,
Yes.
but it is necessary. So I haven't done yet, but I'm gonna do that.
I had a list of our services on the website, and I was working with this business coach, and she was like, pull it down. And I was like, why? Like, why wouldn't I want people to know
Well,
exactly?
they might self-exclude a little bit. Like they might decide, oh, this is not for me. Is that what was the reason? I'm sorry, you paid for that. Do you even want to tell us? Because that was your business coach.
No, I'll tell. But the craziest thing was, for whatever reason, what I took the most offense to is the fact that she was like, it looks like a CVS receipt list. And I was like, not that long dreaded list that you get at CVS. I was like, no, she didn't. And when she said that, everything else kind of went. I don't even remember the reason she told me to take it out. I just remember her being like, girl, it's long.
So maybe what she was trying to say was you were offering too much.
But I didn't feel like I was.
I mean, but she was coaching you, so maybe she was.
I took it down, girl. I was like, maybe she knows what she's talking about. We're going to hide this page on the back end.
Yeah. All right. So who's the impact of taking it down?
Yeah.
No, I didn't lose any business. I didn't gain any business by having it on. The reason that I put it on, and that's a great question, by the way. But the reason that I put it up is because, like you said, you know, when you're doing like discovery calls and that sort of thing, like I was tired of answering, do you do social media management? Do you do social media marketing? How much is it? How long is the commitment? Like, I got tired of all that. And I was listening. Here, go to get your question answered. And for whatever reason, she was like, take that down. And I said, okay.
But it didn't negatively impact you.
But it didn't negatively impact.
And I do think it's possible that you can give so much information that you don't get a chance to close the deal, if that makes sense. So you have to be careful, I guess, not to put too much out there, because then maybe they never come talk to you because you try to tell them everything up front, and now you don't have a chance to have a conversation. So that could have been it. You know, I know you stopped listening to her after the CVS.
But see, I didn't, like you said, you know, I was trying to keep from having to have the conversation.
Also, I get that. Any questions in the room before we take this other question that's online?
Can we go back to the B2B marketing?
Yes, B2B marketing. Hit it.
And so I do marketing for our consulting company and just really connecting with other decision makers and other bigger brands. I'm still figuring out how to do that. So I guess that's my question as a B2B marketing representative. What are some tips to connect with other?
You don't have to tiptoe. Come on. Come on. If you can come closer, it's okay. It is very laid back in here. Yeah, we are happy to have you. Welcome. We're glad you made it safely. So your question is, as a B2B marketer, like if you were trying to get people business to business, how do you market to or even find decision makers? Yeah. Now that could get to be very different industry-wise, I think, because depending on where those people are, because even on digital marketing, you know, we just talked about how LinkedIn typically has more of the decision makers, but let's be honest, right? When people are on social media, they're really there for escape. Despite, LinkedIn is a very, and I've said this in some webinars, so y'all just stick with me here because it's gonna sound mean at first. LinkedIn is one of the most arrogant platforms that exists. We get on LinkedIn and we are happy to announce everything. We are proud to tell you everything, right? It's like, oh, I got my license on Facebook, then you go on LinkedIn and you're like, I am excited to announce that I have been awarded the ability to operate a motor vehicle in the state of Alabama. And it's like, you got a license, right? And so LinkedIn is like this very kind of, they're there for achievements, they're there for, and so in the content, right? So taking this to a digital marketing space, in the content, it's probably likely you need to be on LinkedIn. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I should make sure I'm on track.
Yep.
But likely you would want to be on LinkedIn, but the question is the content and the way that you present it, is it giving people something to applaud? Is it giving people something to buy into a story of, because that's really what LinkedIn is about. You cannot scroll 2 thumbs worth on LinkedIn without somebody being proud of something that they did or they're in a new position. Even if they're leaving it, even if they got fired. I am excited to announce that I have been released from my old opportunities. Like, it's never just the, am I? Y'all,
You're right.
Okay, I was like, y'all just laugh and tell me I'm not the only one whose LinkedIn is full of people who just want to announce stuff. But with that in mind, I think the way that you present content in a way that even you engage people to give them an opportunity to showcase their own skills. So if there's a particular industry in the mix, which I'm going to try to keep it broad, but the type of content that allows them to flex their expertise and to say, hey, we work with a lot of people in this industry, and typically we find that we're able to support them when they have this issue. How do you deal with that? Next thing you know, you got comments full of people who should be getting supported by you, but they're not. And it's just like, oh, that's great information. I would love to talk to you more about that. It's giving discovery, right? And so just being able to, but that's understanding the audience, that's understanding the platform, and that's understanding where you want to fall in position. All the stuff that we kind of said, which is what makes it so much easier when you have that understanding in place. So I would say if you're B2B, if you're looking for decision makers, likely it's going to be a LinkedIn thing. It could be a Facebook thing. It could be. Yeah. Okay, good for you, because I was like, I don't want to push you to Facebook. It could be. But it's possible. Did you want to add anything to that before we take the next question? Shayla, like, no, you got that. Okay,
You got that?
all right. We had a question. Did that answer your question? Great. We have one online?
And the online audience agrees with your LinkedIn feelings.
Thank y'all. I appreciate that because y'all out there. Okay.
Okay, so we have 2 questions from Carol on YouTube.
Carol is in here. Okay.
First question, how do you utilize or apply marketing for business development or growth issues? Clarifying. And the second question, how the 2 work together in business development?
The 2 what? Why are you looking for me? Why are you looking at me like that?
I can ask Carol for clarification.
Carol, the 2 what pieces? Are you getting an understanding?
No, I was gonna say, like, do we need to piece the questions together? Like, what was the first and what was the second one?
Carol, give us a little bit more succinct question because we're a little lost and we're gonna blame us for that because I'm at the bottom of my glass. Okay. So we'll take another question in here while you give us just a little bit more clarification. Questions in here. Y'all are quiet. Don't make me call names.
They're quiet, but they have a lot of notes.
It's a lot of writing
It's
happening.
a lot of notes, which
Question.
makes me feel good.
Question? No. Everybody's like, nothing. Sammy. What you got, Sammy?
Okay, let's just say Instagram.
Okay, let's just say Instagram.
All right. If I'm not posted within like a year and a half, today, how should I be using Instagram?
You should post.
To
I'm just
grow?
So,
Has
what
it
are the
negatively affected your business?
right. So let me take you a little deeper into this question so that Shayla can answer it. So just so that in case you all can't hear, he's asking if I have a post on Instagram in, let's just say, a year, and I'm gonna get started, how should I enter into that, right? So my qualifying question back to you is, do you plan to maintain the presence now, or what is the pull back to Instagram? Like, why are you thinking, oh, I might need to be on Instagram?
I think the biggest question I have now is, I guess in my business side, is knowing whether I am posting to grow the business as far as being customers or to grow a personal brand.
Gotcha.
Because sometimes I wonder about the benefits of building a personal brand, growing towards things like the brand deals, as you were talking about, versus trying to gain a whole lot more customers that I may not necessarily have the capacity for.
Okay, this is good. Oh, this is good. So, in case y'all can't hear Stanley, he's talking sexy. Just in case, he's saying just the pull to come to decide, am I going to take the personal approach? Am I going to take the business approach and try to get more clients and customers? So there are a couple questions in here. I'm gonna break them apart just a little bit. So Shayla, so you can answer the standard question. First question I hear in there is, should we separate our personal brand from our business brand? That's the first question. This might be where we get a little tussle. So, should you do that? That's the first question. What is your advice around that in general? I will make it yes or no. What is your advice around that?
My advice is, okay, well, I'll tell you what I do. It's very, okay. I do have separate pages for my business and my personal brand, right?
And why did you do that?
Only because I wanted to secure my username. I was like, I have this fear of, kid you not, like as social platforms roll out, whether it's Clubhouse, Spill, a lot of people have never heard of Periscope. I'm like, even if I don't plan to use this, I am snatching up my user handle. I don't know how I dropped the ball on TikTok, but I don't know. So I do have separate pages, but I tend to post more on my personal. Only because, and I've said this before, but I haven't said it today, but I've said it before. I notice that people tend to do business with people that they know, like, and trust. And so because I have such a strong personal brand, it helps to then direct the traffic to 66 Media, because in that case, I'm top of mind, right? And so I tend to post a lot of things that I do, like behind the scenes, or even just like my personal life and stuff. And then for whatever reason, I shouldn't say for whatever reason, I guess it's the way I'm marketing myself. People like that. And then, I think of it almost like a realtor, right? You'll see that they are, soccer moms, they do all this type of stuff. But if you see them enough and you're in the market for a house, you're like, oh yeah, I remember so-and-so is on my Facebook page, and they're a realtor. So to answer your question, I think it depends on what you're trying to do. Are you trying to focus more on building a personal brand? Then put your focus there. And then, like Jacqui was saying, if you don't have the time to maintain being consistent on social, then maybe you shouldn't even focus on that. Like, just pick one.
Yeah, and I agree with that last statement a lot, because if you show up there and you're like, I'm only gonna post maybe 2 or 3 times a week, I don't see, because let's be honest, if it's been a year or longer, because I know if it's been a year or longer, Kim said, yeah, you heard me. If it's been a year or longer, then it's going to be important for you to focus your attention. Now, I actually think that you could do both in one space. You just have to go into it with that mentality, right? Like I thought Shayla's reason was going to be because she did ratchet on personal stuff, and she didn't want to take that to the business side, which might be correct.
That is correct.
Okay, I was like, she didn't say it, I did, but and I would like to be ratchet, but I was somebody's art director, and I can't really do that. But
girl, I was a media director at a church.
No, but you weren't standing in the pulpit saying you in the balcony. Like, that is different. It's a little different. People know you're there, but they're not looking at you.
You're right.
I had to cover my arms and direct the choir. So I try to keep it, I'm gonna drink this mimosa. So anyway, but I think that it is possible to do them together, but just being very intentional about that, all that very round, and this every time I answer something, it comes back to the same thing. I know it sounds like a broken record, but it's like knowing how you want, it's like, what part of my personal brand do I think matters to the audience that might buy from me? It may be the behind the scenes stuff. It may be like, hey, when I'm buying these materials and I'm trying to lay something out, what most people don't realize is, here's a picture of this and it's the same thing, but look at the price difference. So you go buy it and you're buying it for this and I'm buying it for this, but people, have a hard time, and there may be just knowledge things that you can give them that still build your personal brand, that show that you know what you're talking about, that make different brands want to work with you, and it's like, okay, he understands. So maybe if we just send him a little bit of our stuff, he could just talk about us, right? Or compare the things, right? Because they think that they're so great. So maybe there's a lane for that, and for people, but you're still kind of approaching it from, and I can do this for you. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
And then I have one question, and I have a suggestion. So, why haven't you posted in over a year?
I have posted regularly, like it hasn't been like,
Stanley just had me doing it basically.
yeah, it's pretty much, I've been surviving.
Yeah.
So.
Come on, survivors.
Yeah,
It's just me and my team clapping, by the way. If you're watching virtually, only the 1 Degree team clap for survival. Because we live in survival. Okay.
Yeah, so it's been, I think that's one of the main reasons, just about, it's not like I don't take pictures. It's not like.
And you didn't get a business to be a marketer.
Right, so.
What's the suggestion?
Oh, sounds like outsourcing.
So the suggestion, and like you and I talked about this a little bit, but the permagrid, remember we were talking about that?
Ooh,
So for
yes,
those
yes.
of you who don't know what a permagrid is, it's short for being like a permanent grid on Instagram. So if you're somebody that doesn't intend to show up consistently on social, then what people are doing now is they're taking like
6 blocks, 9 blocks?
like between like 9 and 12 blocks, and every single post that they have on their page has to do with like whatever they're planning to market. So like, and I don't have a permagrid set up. I have one set up on one of my pages for this very reason, because I knew like I'm not gonna be posting on here all the time, but one, I want this username and I don't want people to go to like a blank page. So I have a permagrid on that page, and it's the page for my podcast, but each grid shows the different people that were featured in that season of the podcast.
They're like large pictures. So instead of you having 3 pictures across, it's like all 6 or 9 or 12. That's right.
It's cohesive, it's like a
It's
puzzle.
all one big picture. So when people come, you may, and because you can put video in your permagrid, you can just make a cover fit
Exactly.
whatever fits in that. So if you wanted to talk about services or whatever, then you could just be like, yeah, you can scroll down and it's more of a landing page.
Exactly, that's perfect.
Yeah.
A landing page. Yeah.
It's more of a, Kim
So is the permagrid like a tool, or you just are making?
You just make it.
Okay, it's not like a thing.
So it's like taking a big picture and breaking it into boxes
Right.
so that you can put it up on Instagram.
Okay, but it's not like another tool that you've layered into Instagram. It's just the way you set up.
Cool that you can do it on there. We're going to show people. And I promise to put it up to the screen for y'all that are out there in the world.
And then my other suggestion is that, like on my page, I have pinned to the top a little graphic that says "Work with me." So then that way, no matter what I post, that always stays at the top. So people, as soon as they come to my page, that's the first thing they see is like, this is who I am, this is what I do, hey, new followers, whatever, and then that always stays right there. So like if you don't plan to show up consistently on social, then that would be a suggestion, is to put up either a couple of permanent posts that talk about, I'm Stanley, this is what I do, this is, you know, the service I provide, and so on.
And to
so
take
forth.
that suggestion one step further and back to Shayla and all of her Instagram and TikTok handle woes, if you are getting all of these handles and you're like, what if people come here and look for me? You can always put a post up to say, hey, so glad you stopped by. If you're looking for us to be active, we're on whatever platform you're typically on. You're kind of directing the traffic, if that makes sense. And so something like, we have a Twitter account, I would never, Twitter X, the platform formerly known as, whatever it's called, I'm not gonna be on. Like, I'm trying my best to be thread just because Shayla keep talking. And I'm like, if Shayla's talking, I need to be talking too. But I was never a Twitter person, but there's something up there that says, hey, so glad you came. We're not usually here, you know, leave a message, but we're over on Instagram, you know, like, and whatever your brand personality is, you know, just do that, but make sure you kind of direct the traffic in that way and let people know, which that's a really great suggestion that she's making. So it's like, and you can still post after you put it up, just try to remember, just commit to 3 posts and on Instagram, because then you can move the grid down instead of it being off.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So it's like if you have this grid going on, if you put one post up, your grid's gonna be crooked. And so if you decide to post, you have to commit to 3 posts at a time. Right. So even if they're back to back, you gotta commit to 3. But I think that's a great suggestion. Really, really great suggestion.
And then not to just, you know, throw you all the way off, but when you're doing something like this is when like your brand guidelines come into play.
Absolutely.
Because if you're going to have something like that up there, you do want it to look cohesive and aesthetically appealing.
Look like the website, look like whatever banner you have, look like all of it needs to look alike.
Right. So then people, you know, when they see it, they know what's up.
Hey, Andy, will you hold that up in front of the thing for the people out there in the world? This is bootleg.
It looks
Just
really
stick
good.
with us. So look at that. That's Annie who's giving you the nice example. Scroll a little bit further. I think it's a little report. Yeah.
And her nails are so pretty, so
Yeah.
she's like the perfect hand model. It's giving like social media QVC.
Yes. Let's see Annie's hand. We're so grateful.
Oh, God.
You can hand it off so Annie can get out the screen, but she's gonna be mad when she sees her whole body in the screen. Okay. Was there a question online for me? Okay, Brittany, what we got online?
So Ram Leah LLC is a fairly new business, less than a year old. And the
Less than a
question
year,
is,
okay.
with minimal budgeting for marketing currently,
Mm.
what would be the most valuable to focus on with the dollars the business has for now?
And I will say she does a really good job of personal branding.
Okay, so repeat the question one more time, just so, because you're close, so people can hear you reading it and they can see it on the screen. But one more time.
With minimal budgeting for marketing currently, what would be the most valuable to focus on with the dollars the business has for now?
Okay. You want me to start?
I do.
Okay. That was a strong side eye. Okay, so I have a few thoughts, right? When it comes to spending money in marketing, deep breath. The truth is not everyone can afford to outsource. And I spoke to that earlier, right? And so the first thing I would ask a person who is asking this question to me, so I'm asking it to you out there in the world, is what are you currently doing, right? Again, you're going to spend time or you're going to spend money. Both of them cost you, right? One of them you can re-up on, the other you cannot. And if you are not in business to be a marketer, one of them you're taking time away from your business to do, one of them, right, you're not. So the first question I would ask is if you're doing some things yourself, what are you doing? Are you doing as much as you can in those spaces? Because in digital marketing, there are a lot of free resources, which is kind of part of the problem, is that everybody has access to everything. But few people are actually utilizing the platforms to their full potential. So it's like, for the things that you're doing, for instance, if you're on Instagram, that's my favorite platform, so that's always my example. Girl, yes, cheers to that. I don't have none left, but we're gonna drink it anyway. So, pause and drink. So my first question, so let's say you're on Instagram and you're posting to your timeline, that's great. You're using stories, that's great. Are you using highlights? Are you using shop if that applies to you? Or are you using the button that allows people to come and schedule right from the platform? Are you using any auto response because they're meta, so they have that same kind of feature? Are you using guides, which could solve some of the back and forth with people about questions that they have, which is an option for you? It's almost like a blog on Instagram. Are you using broadcast channel? Are you using threads, which is a part of Instagram technically? All of these things exist. So my first question would be, are you using the platforms that you've identified to their full potential? Because there's so much there. You don't have to create new content, you just have to make sure you're using it in a smart way. So that would be my first question is, are you doing as much as you can with what you have? In order to decide where you put the money, I would think my first thought is to put the money where it makes a difference. So to some people, it's worth it to them to outsource because they need their time back. We sell time. Everything that, you know, this is
our time is not free.
It's not, right. Our time is not free, but neither is yours. So it's like, if the thing you need in your business is time to do what you do and do it better and do it without worrying about whether this stuff will hit the ground, then outsourcing might be the way. If you're like, no, I'm pretty good at what I'm doing, but I need more eyes on it. So maybe the marketing budget is worth getting someone to help you with paid digital, right? Or it's like, oh, we're starting to do pop-ups. Maybe it's worth getting one of these fancy banners, right? So really, the answer for me is, where will spending that money actually make a difference in your business? Because we can spend a lot of money and it doesn't move the needle. And come on, somebody say amen.
Amen.
Okay, because I know, I've seen it happen. So, you know, we go out, we're like, oh, I want to outsource. And it's like, cool, it's still going, but you didn't tell them who you're after. You didn't tell them what your business goals were. It just looks pretty. Nobody's converting, nothing's happening, but it is not hitting the ground. But is that really worth money to us? The answer is no, by the way. Right? So I think answering that for yourself is, okay, what will I be responsible for? What can I do realistically and maintain? And what are the things that cost money, and which one of these things turns the volume up for me. That's where I would focus. And unfortunately, I can't give you like Facebook ads because I don't know if that's the answer for you, right? So marketing is very political. We don't have any straight answers. But that's what I would be looking for is once I'm doing all that I can, if I put money here, that would really make it go off. What is that? And then the question is, do you need help with that? Even if it's on a project basis. Because you know what happens is that people will think, oh, if I outsource, I have got to sign up for this long commitment and retainer service. When the truth is that if you want to treat it like a project, or if you want to do it yourself and then just consult with someone quarterly, instead of spending your money on outsourcing it, you can meet with them and say, hey, what should I be doing? Y'all can spend, I always tell people when you consult, which I don't typically do a lot anymore, but it's like, if you consult with me, I don't have to do it. So I'm gonna give you all the game. Girl, look, you got to get on here and do this and make this video and, smack it up, flip it, rub it down, whatever needs to happen. And then you're responsible for doing it. And if you wanna come back next quarter and go, okay, so I smacked it up and flipped it, I just couldn't rub it down, but am I on the right track, right? And then I can say, yeah, adjust it. So maybe your money is better spent in consultation than outsourcing. And so just thinking about what you can do and what else changes the narrative. Does that answer your question? Let me know out there in the world.
She has answered.
Okay.
Ram Lee says, yes, these are great suggestions. Thank you. And yes, always want to outsource when adding more time to doing what I love and want to do most. I knew you would say that.
I mean, and I think too, sometimes when we throw out words like marketing, people automatically think that there's like a dollar tied to that, right? And so for me, one of the best pieces of marketing that I had was word of mouth.
Absolutely.
It was friends who were able.
Word of mouth is keeping it afloat.
Word of mouth, literally word of mouth has kept me in business. Word of mouth is the reason that I was able to start a business.
Awesome.
Because people were like, oh yeah, there's this girl in Birmingham and she does this thing and like give her a call, As a matter of fact, I have never spent any advertising dollars, honestly.
This is horrible for us to say, but me either, but that's because of the nature of our industry. So I just want to make sure that you all know that that's not necessarily a recommendation. It's both of us, but it's just because of the nature of the business.
True, yeah. And then also,
because I'm gonna run an ad for Elevation Academy in just a few minutes.
Well, I just ran ads for my event.
Right. So there's a time, but it's not for the services too.
Yeah, but when I was where she is right now in business, when I didn't have the money to outsource, when I didn't have the money to, buy visual ads or TV ads or radio spots or anything, what kept me afloat was word of mouth. And I say it all the time, but people always say, it's not what you know, it's who you know. Well, I like to say it's not who you know, it's who knows you.
Right.
Because I have people like Jacqui
who will advocate
for me. I have people, and same for,
Yeah, because we send people, listen, we do similar stuff, but we send people. We're like, hey,
right,
I got somebody.
I'm like, we don't do that at 66, but 1 degree, they do that times there. So,
and even if we do, we still be like, hey, I can't right now, but who you can talk to is this person. So yes.
So sometimes it's who knows you, who is advocating for you and saying your name in rooms that you're not privy to being in.
Because Kim said your name and you're not even here in this room.
Yeah, she don't. Yeah, Ryan Walker.
See?
Did a lunchtime.
In the room, any other questions? Because we are nearing time. Just to kind of heads up there. Anything online right now? They're quiet over there. Don't be quiet. Anything in the room? Y'all are nodding and having a good time, but.
So let's talk about the payoff.
She said, let's talk about the payoff with marketing. I may or may not have felt that in my veins. Go ahead. Okay.
Because I'm thinking about this question from different perspectives that are in different roles. For me, the marketing is effective when it brings another customer or client.
Mm-hmm.
Would you all say that's the same?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh, Brittany, don't make me bring you up here, girl. She is shaking her head so hard back there. No, by the way, shaking her head no so hard. So the question that she's asking is, would you say that your marketing, make sure I'm saying this correctly, would you say that your marketing is successful when it brings another customer? Is that right?
Yeah, as a business owner, that's when I think it's successful, when I get another
Yes,
client.
I got you.
But as marketers, which you all say that,
I mean, we have to put on the business owner hat in the marketing world. So go ahead, Shayla, you like you locked and loaded.
Well, so, I was gonna say, for me, you know, even if I don't get a customer or something, like if I got a lead, but again, how do you measure success?
There it is. That's all I was gonna say.
It's all in how you. So success to you is, yeah, I got a customer. Success to me might be I got a lead. They might not have bought in this time, but now they're on my text list, they're on my email list, and I'm about to bombard them. Fashion Nova doesn't care how many times they email me. Like, I'm not afraid to email my people.
Nice.
So, you know, like I just got done running ads for something, and you know, I got so many clicks to like my website and all this different, and then those people win and they signed up for newsletters and that sort of thing. So to me, that's how I measure.
Yeah, no, and that's really the answer for me as well. It's like, one, and I always ask this in webinars and teaching things, is what is of value to you, right? So I always remind people, number one, everybody cannot afford to give you money, even if they want to. The perfect example, and I think Brittany has heard me say this a million times, I love Chanel bags. Come on, hello, okay? I love Chanel bags. They are $5,000, $6,000, $6,000, $7,000 on the low end, right? This is basic Chanel level. Whether I want to or can at the time give them $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, Chanel knows that it's worth it to keep a relationship with me. Because when I do, maybe it's a splurge for me. So they know their audience. They have the people who can just pull up and buy one because they need a bag for the night. You know, for us, that's Target. But for some people, that's Chanel, right? I'm not those people, but I aspire. But they also have people who are going to splurge on that one day. And so it's worth it to them. It's a value to them for me to be on the email list. It's value to them for me to be following them on Instagram and liking and engaging. Because when I do get my $5,000 or $6,000 or $7,000,
Oh, she does.
where am I going? Because if I'm looking at Chanel, I'm looking at Louis Vuitton. If I'm looking at Louis Vuitton, I'm looking at Fendi, right? And so it's like, I know that you are keeping a little relationship with all these people. It's like, you know, women, help me here. You always have some male friends you kind of keep around. You're not doing nothing with them, but you know, in case you need some help moving something, you know, you can call them, right? That's kind of how y'all laughing at you don't ring, right? So it's like, I might need to put a little word out and get some help, right? Amen. Okay. Thank you, Brittany. You want to be quiet. But the same thing is true to the question to the brand or for the brand is what is of value to me? If they can't afford it right now, but they value it. Because we can't make people have money they don't have.
Right.
But it's like, I don't want you to think because you can't give me the money right now that you're not valuable to me, because you are. I want to stay front of mind. I want to make sure, and how do I do that? So then the question is, what channel are we doing that in? Is it an email list? Is it a like on social? Is it an event that you can come to and get to know the brand better, get some free information, whatever that is, right? So we've got to know what else is of value that is not dollars. That sounds counterproductive when you're in business,
Right.
but it's either get the money now or never, or it's get the money now or when you have it.
Right.
And that's kind of what I would say. So what is your definition of one success in general? What are you trying to push? That answer should always be guided by business and brand goals. It's not just a marketing goal, right? But also, what else is of value to you? If you don't know that answer and you're always looking for money, you are going to be frustrated for the rest of your days. Everybody can't give you money. They don't have it. If I don't have it, does that mean that you don't value me? That can't be true. So where else do you want me? Because I want to be here, but you're telling me if I have any money, I can't talk to you, right? So that can't be the only definition. Does that make sense?
I feel like she has other questions.
It's spinning up there.
I mean, that sounds great, but you know, when you're an entrepreneur, the bills can have to be paid.
They do.
Oh, we know.
And so you have to do both things. Don't get me wrong. So it isn't like, oh, nobody has any money this week. Oh man, I don't know how. I'm so sorry, but they're on the email list. Like that's not. I know that you can't do that, right? But it is about both the business. You got to do both things at the same time. So it's like, okay, cool, can you give me money? You can, great, all right, I'm gonna put you over here. You're not ready yet, that's cool, but this is of value to me, right? Because you don't know, and I think that this is what's most important from an entrepreneur aspect, from a small business owner aspect. Because trust, this week I have to pay payroll, so I feel this on a spiritual level. But it is a question of what is the long play and how many people are in that pipeline. So that goes back to the question that I think it was Carol that was asking about business development. How many people do I need to keep here? Because we're talking about, it's in marketing, it's cheaper to keep it. Like this wide net that we cast on social, that takes a lot of energy, a lot of content. You gotta come up with new stuff. You gotta tap dance for these people, right? It's a lot all the time. It's constant changing. Oh, what's the trend? Okay, I gotta do the little dance. I can't dance. But you know, all of those things.
Ooh, COVID had us acting a fool.
Right? Did COVID happen?
Yeah, all the dances.
I can't do any of that. But no.
If I get my name on,
She will be on TikTok. I'm still praying and fasting about that. But it's like, what does the pipeline look like? It's like if I'm running an email list, and you have to look at the data over time, right? The question is, when I'm running this on a regular basis, if I put some kind of email list only, come get it now, we're offering some special offering, I might get a few people, but they have to be there in the first place. So I need to press the emergency button. And that's what that's more so about. It's like, yes, you still got to be trying to close the sale on a regular basis, but for those people who aren't, we need to put them in a place that we value, where we're going to maintain a great relationship, and we're going to give them something special so they'll bite, because they're clearly interested. They like, they follow, they gave us an email. They're qualified in some aspect. We know they want to be there. The question is, are we going back to them and saying, hey, you know what? You gave me your email address, which is real personal, and I'm all up in your inbox. Here's 10% off for the next 10 people. You got that fear of missing out. So you might play a few tactics, but you have them to go to when it's tight, right? And so being able to do that and trying to push, but you gotta have them there. So that's what I mean by that. We gotta do both things, but we wanna make sure that we're nurturing this side, because clearly these people want it, but we've gotta give them the right scenario in some kind of way. Does that make sense?
and then like, so into that, like for my saints, I would say, you know, weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning.
Joy,
And then for my aunts, for people that listen to like rap music and stuff like I do, you know, Jacqui already told y'all I'm ratchet on Instagram.
And I'll be with her with the ratchet.
Yeah. So, you know, this young prophetess out of Memphis, Tennessee, Glorilla.
Yeah.
She says,
Gloria, hallelujah.
Gloria, hallelujah. She says,
Because at the end of the day,
they got
got in. Come on.
And then she also says, what's the other one?
So not cool.
The other one, she's like, but that's why I love tomorrow.
Oh yeah, she's like, every day won't be.
Every day the sun won't shine.
Every day the sun won't shine.
But that's why I love tomorrow.
Come on.
And so that's what that email list is for your tomorrow people. They might not have that money right now. Like Jacqui just sat here and told us, like, right now I can't splurge on the Chanel bag,
but I will
one
have.
day. And Chanel knows how to reach her when she is there.
They stay.
So don't think that people who are showing any sort of interest.
And if y'all didn't know what song we're referring to, I will drop this in the socials because Kim needs to know.
Yes. Because people, they will, like, customers will spend the money. They will spend the money. Yeah.
You had a question on it, so we're gonna.
That was ratchet too.
It was.
They will spend the block.
They will spend the block. We got about 15 minutes, but what question do we have?
I don't have a question, we do have a comment though.
Oh, a comment, okay.
Yes, Kishana says, that's a really great perspective, switching focus from what I value to redefine what I consider successful.
We like that, which is a really great question.
Well, another reason your email list is so important is because all these social things can just go away, and you don't own them, and your email list you own. I mean,
you have some control.
you have control
Right.
over
So
it,
Kim is making a great point here. Like in websites and email, both are the spaces that you have more control over.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how many times the way that we tear these phones up trying to refresh an Instagram feed when it's moving slower down, and it's like I got content ready to go out, I'm supposed to go live, I'm supposed to. And while we want to build those things in, we can't always control that.
Right.
And that's why you gotta be all the places. That makes sense. You got a question? There's a question online?
We have a question from Carol on
Hey,
YouTube.
Carol, you hadn't left us. We appreciate that.
Carol says, how do you utilize or apply digital marketing for business development and or growth where you can see the results?
Consistency is the key.
Mm.
So not only, you tell me,
Okay.
right? So digital marketing, and so I think I already addressed some of that, like how you're using it. Let me do say this about digital marketing in general as far as business development and growth goes. So when you think about your digital marketing content, I think that sometimes people end up being a little off kilter with the type of content that they do. They're either too focused on behind the scenes and personality, and they never actually say, well, this is what I do and how much it costs or how you get started. So I think that in the business development and growth realm of content development, we've got to remember to mix in, I'm a business and I need your money, right? It can't be all of that because nobody likes that friend. And it's like, girl, can I hold $5 every time you see her? But I don't have a friend like that anymore. I'm so but we want to make sure in our content there is a healthy balance of, yes, we want to be social on social media, but for the business development, we need to say, here's the service we provide. Here's how you get started. We have to educate people on how to do that because they may love us. And if we never say, and this is how you get started, why are we shocked that nobody is coming? We didn't give them a button to press. We didn't give them an email address. We're so busy and they love us in the comments or they're engaging or whatever, but we never say, this is how you get started and this is what the journey is like. You're gonna have a discovery meeting and then I'm gonna follow with a proposal and then you're gonna tell me if you have questions and then we're gonna sign a contract. Just knowing that alone makes people go, oh, it's like that middle of the mall map. You are here. Where are you trying to go, right? And so we forget, I think, especially smaller businesses, that we have got to direct the traffic. So in your digital content, you cannot forget to tell people what it is you do and how they get started, and maybe a little bit about what that journey is like. What do you think?
I agree. And then, like you were saying, consistency is key because I know a lot of times, I know I'm not the only one that feels like this. Like, you'll post personal things and you get all the likes and all the shares and stuff. And then the minute you talk about your business, it's like, and it's like, oh, so they don't like the fact that I'm in business, they don't want to support. And so you have to just kind of still know, like, show up anyway.
Yeah.
And then have a good mixture of things. So then that way you're still mixing in the things that you know they like and that work well, because that's where that engagement comes from and stuff, and that's what keeps you in the algorithm and on the timeline and everything like that. But you want to also still continue to post about your business, also making sure that you make it easy for people to find you. One of the things that I hate the most is, you know, let's just say I'm looking for like a housekeeper or somebody, right? And I go to their page and I have to scroll through so many posts just to find like the phone number, the website, or whatever.
That is equivalent to walking into somebody's store and they don't speak.
Ooh, yeah.
And it's like, you clearly do not want my money. Okay, God, no, for real. Did you feel it? Because that's how I feel when I have to do that in the digital space.
Right.
It's like I came into your Instagram, you didn't speak to me.
Yeah. So make it easy. Like keep your links in your bios updated. Like I said, if you got something similar to what I have with that work with me graphic, pin it to the top. Like whatever is happening that you want people to know about right now, like pin those to the top, but make it easy for your customers to find you.
Absolutely. And as far as the ROI part of that question, it comes back to what we were saying here in the room. It's what is your definition of success there? Is it how many people clicked on it? Is it how many people when it's scheduled? Is it how many, like, what are you measuring? And you've got to know what metrics match your goal. You've got to know, I'm sorry, I'm saying it one more time, just for the people in the back of the live, not y'all got it together. I'm talking about them, so nobody feels like I'm calling out. You've got to know what metrics match your goals. So your ROI, yes, money is one of them, but what else, what gets people to the money? Is it how many people saw it? Is it how many people clicked? Is it how many people took another action? You've got to know which one of these metrics actually equate to moving people through the pipeline. It's not just money. That's a spoiler alert. It's not just money. So many other things have to happen before people spend money with you. If you can't measure any of these things, you don't know what to change. You don't know if it's the type of content, you don't know if it's the wrong platform, you don't know if it's the emails, you don't know if it's the website, you don't know if it's the checkout process. And so if you haven't defined all of that and you have a metric for the journey, then you don't know where it's falling off. Does that make sense?
I think that's a good point too, because I know for me, I think what can make you kind of lazy when it comes to posting too is kind of piggybacking on what you were saying is when the word of mouth business is good, it kind of makes you feel like, you know, or it not make you feel like, it'll make you slip on doing the other
Yes,
things.
everything's working. It's fine.
Right, and I noticed that sometimes a person may call and then they say, are you still doing this?
Right.
And it's like, yeah, I'm still. And you know, I think that's right, some very good points you made. And sometimes it's just a matter of letting people know, okay, this is what I do, and I'm still doing it.
And I'm still doing it.
Right.
And you can still give me your money too.
Right.
We're down to 8 minutes, so I'm gonna start with the room. Any last questions here in the room where it happens? If you're here.
So now, how often do you need to be posting for the algorithm to pick you up?
Here is the question that I love. Ooh, I'm gonna show you.
Because it used to be like, 3 times a week if you're consistent, but I don't know what that is anymore.
So Kim's question, in case y'all can't hear it out there in the interwebs, is how often should you be posting for these algorithms in order to move the needle? Shayla, would you like to take this one?
I'll take this one, and my answer is probably going to be, something, like the answer, I don't know. I don't know. Because it used to be, like you said, like we would be cool with posting like 3 times a week, and then it started being like, oh, we need to post like 2-3 times a day. Then they started saying, well, it's not just enough to post. You gotta post a mixture of things. You gotta post carousels, and we need you in your stories, and you need to be putting a reel. It was like so many things, and the reason I say I don't know is because it is literally ever changing. So Jacqui mentioned Threads, which I'm like into really heavily now. I really like Threads. Really? Am I?
That's a good thing.
Oh,
that's what you want.
Okay.
That's why you're there.
But like I love Threads. And then just this weekend, I'm not monetized yet on Threads, but I've seen where some people have started getting their monetization on Threads, right? So I'm hoping I get that soon as I have it on everything else. But like everybody is on Threads talking about how the algorithm, especially with Instagram, is always changing. And like Instagram is going through their dumping bots. So like I was following somebody, they were saying that they lost like 2,000 followers.
Because they're not real.
Because they're not real. Like people that were buying followers and all this. Like, so to answer your question, I don't know how often to post.
Okay.
Because it's
So
always.
I'm going to add something to that I think is just good knowledge to have. So I was teaching one of these MasterCard webinars, and in the research of that, because y'all don't know this, but as smart as I feel like I am, every time I have to teach, I do new research because the stuff changes so much, and that's a part of my job, right? So I want everybody to know, if you're like, oh, but I already saw her, it may not be exactly the same. A lot of the core stuff is the same as far as marketing strategy and just understanding goes, but platforms and all that change. So all of that to say, I was supposed to be talking about digital front lines, and I wanted to kind of give people an idea of what happens in these algorithms, because we blame the algorithm for everything. The algorithm won't let people see my post. The algorithm is doing this, right? Let me tell you what Meta told me, right? And this is available. All you gotta do is Google algorithm, and it's on their website. Here is why Shayla can't know. There is a different algorithm for every aspect of every platform. So there's not an algorithm. There is an algorithm for your timeline. There's an algorithm for search. There's an algorithm for stories. All of them have different algorithms. So it is impossible, especially as a smaller brand, to work within the algorithm, right? The machine, right? That's not a real thing. There is no way, let me free somebody out there today. There is no way to show up in all these spaces in the perfect way where you are capitalizing on that. It's just not possible. There is a different algorithm, literally for every aspect of Instagram, every aspect of Facebook. So trying to think of, and you would think as a strategist, I would be like, oh no, but we can fix that. No, we can't. That's too much. And none of us can afford time or money to be like, all right, here's our stories strategy, and here's our timeline strategy, and here's our highlight strategy, and here's our search strategy, here's our hashtag strategy, and here's our page strategy, here is how we're gonna engage people in comment strategy. You gotta have a strategy for everything. Now, some people got that kind of money, you know, your Cokes of the world and Target, they got that kind of money, we don't. And so I'm saying that to say, the best thing you can do is, one, on consistency, do what you can maintain. That's always my answer.
Yep.
I can tell you these 15 times a week today. Do you have time to do 15 posts a week?
No.
Okay, so me telling you that makes no difference whatsoever. You've got to be consistent, Stanley. Okay? And if that consistency starts off as once a month, it's once a month. And when you master that, it's twice a month. And when you master that, it's 4 times a month, because now you got a little process going, right? And we double it. And so you can only do what you can maintain. So if you're managing this stuff yourself, please know you've got to be realistic about what you can maintain. No amount of advice that Shayla can give you, she's an expert, no amount of advice that Shayla can give you can make you have time you don't have. So you've got to realistically say, I have 4 hours a week to do my marketing stuff. How many posts can you kick out in 4 hours? Right? That's the question. And if the question is 2 for the next couple weeks, the answer is 2. That's it. All these algorithms, all of them favor consistency over quantity. So if you show up once a week for a year, it's gonna be like, cool, we know you. You the one that come every week. But if you post once a day for a month and then you fall off because you can't maintain that, when you come back a month or 2 later, they're gonna be like, what's your name again? I'm sorry, who you want to trade contact to? I know you're not.
It's like that ex-girlfriend.
Yeah.
You just pop up.
It's like a new phone.
Who this?
Right? That's right. You're flaking on me, you ghosted me. Like, I don't, you know, so all of that to say, do what you can maintain. Number one, that is so important. But also, please free yourself from the thought that you can.
Okay.
It's not even made for us in that way. It's just not. It is trying its best to mimic human behavior. And you're human, and you know how our brains are all over the place, so is it. That's pretty much, that's it. And so it's acting like us, which means who knows, depending on the day, what you might
Be a
do.
little crazy.
You gotta be a little crazy. That's
And the
right.
minute we think we know, they change it.
They change it. And so trying to chase that is not even chasing, but trying to be aware of it is almost a moot point. It's like, but this is where that brand consistency, knowing your brand, knowing how you want to show up, making authentic connections with your audience, it stands the test of all the changes. Mm-hmm. They're there for you. Whether Instagram or whoever shows it to them or not, they're looking, because they'll be like, man, I haven't seen the board, what's going on? That's what we're after. We're after that level of authentic engagement. That when they don't see you, they're looking for you.
Yep.
Right? All right, last call. Did you have more on there? Okay, one more quick 60 seconds.
Cameron on Facebook has a more general business question.
Okay.
How can we start our own business before making the website for the business?
Don't do it. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Website, not start a business. Okay, wait. I'm sorry.
Sorry, Cameron. The question is, how can we start our own business before making the website for the business?
What? You suggest they don't do that?
Well, no, I was gonna say don't start a business, but I'm kidding. These are just jokes. I'm gonna blink twice for double. Okay. Go ahead, Shayla. What's your thoughts?
So I know a lot of people that start businesses and they don't have their website. And so what I would say is, I mean, they're saying, how do we start? Like, literally the answer is to start the business. Like, just get started. Like, you don't necessarily have to have the website. Now, everything we've been talking about today is like, well, when you get the money to do this or whatever, you don't have, the minute that you get $1,
The minute.
that you get
Because
$1,
the free trial is free.
yeah,
You need
yeah. Even if you're not ready to DFY it and do it yourself, or pay a web developer or anything like that, at least go and get your domain.
at the very least.
At the very least, get your domain. So then that way, when you are in a place to get a website for your business, then you're not having.
You don't have the TikTok Shayla problem.
You don't have the problem that I had. So yeah, so that would be my advice, is to just start.
Yeah, I agree with that, but I will also say this because I don't want to sugarcoat it for you. Cameron, was it? Cameron, I don't want to sugarcoat it for you. It is too easy to have a website in the year of our Lord 2024 for you not to have one. It's too simple, and while, you know, how expensive it is relative, right? But there are so many almost free options out there for you to put something up that says, here's how you get in contact. It doesn't have to be a full site, right? I think that as entrepreneurs, we get this. If it's not everything, we can't do anything, right? Maybe I'm talking about myself, but if it's not perfect, if it's not big, I need a about page, I need service, I need content. What do you don't? You need for people to be able to go to a digital space and validate that you do what you say you do. Sometimes all that is yes, this is a real company. Here's how you contact us, phone number, are we on the socials? It is too easy to do that on a Squarespace, on, I hate Weebly and Wix, but I'll say them as well.
I mean, even Canva now.
Canva, you can do a site on Canva.
And you can connect your own domain.
All of that it's too easy to do that for you not to do it. I'll say that, but I also agree that that doesn't stop you from getting started. A Facebook, I always tell people, Facebook is the website of social media.
Yep.
It might just be a Facebook page, but you want to have something as you get started for Google to index. We want to be able to find you. It's just a digital world. So while I agree with Shayla's point, like, hey, not having a website doesn't stop you, but I will say, ask you what is stopping you, because it's a little too easy to get it for you not to have it. So we're talking maybe $100 a year in order to have a basic site up. $100 a year. So when you make your first $100, expect you to have a website for a year. If you make your first 12, you can have one for the next month. I'm just saying, it's too easy. That's like my Starbucks order is more than $12. An expensive habit. But so that is kind of my challenge to people who are thinking, oh, I can't do all this stuff. Maybe you can't do it in grand fashion, but you can do it. The trick again, as we land this plane, is to do as much as you have, as much as you can with what you have, which is again what Elevation Academy is all about. So I'm going to land it here. Thank you for your question. Thank you all for your questions. Let's give a great big hand. If you're watching the line, you're not clapping on the other side of the screen, I am judging you. So let me just say thank you for all of you for logging on and watching. Also for all of you all who are in the room with us, please drink up all the champagne, because my team and I will if you don't.
Yes.
I'll stay around.
Yes.
Thank you, right? So I want to especially thank Kim Lee at Forge, workatforge.com, right? If you want to come by, there are all these options. I have been every level of membership in Forge. Literally, I have been a general member, I've had a desk, now I have an office, I have used this space, that space, the roof, I've used everything. So if you have questions, if you want to vet Forge before you come, I'm happy to answer those for you. People think I work here anyway. Also, a big thank you to Shayla Nicole for joining me. Thank you for having me and taking on the daunting task of who knows what they will say. Is what I probably should have named this instead of questions that need answers. Who knows what they're going to say. You all have been really great. Thank you for sharing your expertise and your time, which we know costs money, by the way. That's why you should have asked now, because the invoices will roll. So thank you for sharing your time and your expertise and your wonderful personality with us, and for getting to the bottom of your drink so that I don't look like a lush. So I appreciate that, and so glad to have you. Thank you. And for all of you who are watching, so that Brittany can get ready to end the live, because she needs like a hard stop. Thank you to Brittany for being our producer today. We appreciate you so much. Yay. She's waving. You can't see that, but she's waving. And also thank you to Annie from our team for being here from Mississippi as she takes on small business. So thank you so much. And to all of you out there, I'll say bye to y'all in a minute. For all of you out there who are watching, again, I'm Jacqui. This is Elevation Academy. You can go to joinelevationacademy.com just to see what it is that we do. And we will see you the next time. Thank you. Bye.